And this won't be the first time that you've been asked this question, obviously, but with the whole Imperfect documentary coming out, obviously, Roy Halladay, Hall of Fame pitcher, you got the chance to catch him for numerous years, probably more than any backstop. Was Roy Halladay just a different animal then compared to the rest of the pitching staff?
Yeah, totally. Roy was completely driven. Put in an 8-hour day every day. Like, you never saw him in front of his locker, listening to music, goofing off, playing video games. Roy was either throwing, working out, refueling, getting therapy, or studying film. That's all the only thing he did all day long. He was a nice guy, but a very aloof teammate.
Yeah.
He was hard to know. I knew him well because we spent a lot of time together, obviously, as battery mates. And, you know, I always tell this is a really funny story, like at the beginning of our tenure together. You know, Roy used to put on the bitter boss face on the day he pitched. Like, he'd storm around the clubhouse, and he didn't want to be talked to by anybody. And I basically told him, I said, look, dude, I get it. It's your day to pitch, but you know, you could stop with treating me like crap.
Yeah.
Because A, I'm your catcher, and B, I got more service time than you. I ain't going to put up with this. You know, you need to show me a little bit of respect. I say, because here's your other option. Either you knock this crap off when it's just you and me in the room, or I'm going to start telling the hitters what's coming. I don't want to, you're not going to treat me like this. And after that, you know, Roy kind of giggled, and you know, he and I never had a problem. I let Roy do Roy. And I loved Roy because Roy's day to pitch was my mental day off. I didn't have to work that hard.
Yeah. He
took full responsibility for everything he did. The only thing I had to do was keep him from being predictable, which he was. He was ridiculously predictable. His attitude was, here it is, hit it, I dare you, and I'm not coming off of plan A until you prove to me that you can beat me. And that's what made hitting it against Roy so easy. I knew what he was going to do. And, of course, I always claimed that I could hit anybody that I caught very well because I knew how the ball was going to move. I knew what they were trying to do. And so, you know, a guy like me should not have been able to be so successful against Roy. Even the outs were loud. But we had a good relationship. And I was devastated and rocked to my core when he passed. He and I actually had a conversation about him flying planes.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, you're a knucklehead. I said, don't be doing that crap. I say, you're not a pro pilot. I said, my uncle Rick lost one of his best friends in the game in Thurman Munson when he crashed his plane.
Right.
I said, you know what, knock that off until, you know, you're done raising kids and you're done playing ball. And I was devastated. And you know, and then watching the documentary, hearing about his struggles with substance and, you know, demons, you know, that's not the Roy I knew.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Roy, I don't think Roy was dealing with any of that stuff when he was with the Blue Jays. I think it all started to happen to him when he was with Philly. Injuries piled up, you know, his desire, his need to be the best and not let anybody down. And, you know, I think the perfect storm happened, you know, with him, you know, with regards to mental health and substance abuse. And, man, it was devastating. One of the most shocking days of my life after him dying was the autopsy report. I was like, what?
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense. This is not the guy. You know, like there's a lot of cultures in the game of baseball, subcultures in the game of baseball. Yeah, you got your ADD boys who, you know, they're on the Adderall and the Ritalin, other stuff. Then you got your drinkers, and then you got your, you know, your guys that are into other things that, you know, apparently are now legal in some states. But you know, those are all things that Roy, I would never have identified Roy with. He was a straight arrow. The guy, we couldn't even get him to go out for a beer with us.
Wow.
So how could you possibly imagine that a guy who won't even go out for a beer with you is struggling with mental health demons and abusing substances like painkillers and antidepressants and stuff? It's just, it was unbelievable. Not the Roy I knew.
I mean, that stuff's just devastating. I totally agree with you on the fact with planes. I mean, those just scare the crap out of me. And I had a buddy who invited me to go out just to like tour the town. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that with you. And he was like, he was a CFI, like a certified flight instructor. I'm like, maybe in like 20 years if you haven't crashed yet at all. Like I can't handle that stuff in the air. For him though, like you mentioned, like a very hard guy to get to know. On off days when he wasn't pitching, like what was like the biggest that he kind of, I guess, let loose in a sense?
He liked to fish. He was, he had a house on a lake, and he had a boat and all that kind of stuff. But Roy's days off were, in fact, he'd usually go to the ballpark to get a workout in. He was on a 5-day schedule, and he did not deviate from it during the season. I lived close to him in Florida, so I got a chance to during spring training and the winter months. I got a chance to spend time with him and his family. He had cars. He had old cars. And he was a hobby guy. He's a tinker. He made models. Roy was a nerd. He had these things that he could not sit still. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Absolutely couldn't sit still.
Interesting. I mean, wow.